How's that? My back? There we go. Sorry about that. I forgot to I had this little app that I use that runs the sound and I forgot to turn it on. So sorry about that. Anyway, let's try again. Good morning. Welcome to House Edge Live. It's John from Casino Gaming Central. And here we are on Thursday, wrapping up the first week of the progressions series. So this week we did all positive progressions, all ways to press your bets after wins. And again, the way that I present this is not just craps, although I love craps. What I show works on everything, right? So I'm trying to kind of span the games, right? So a positive progression, and I'll review some more of them here on the craps table today, but they can work in Bach, in blackjack, on the roulette table, doesn't matter where. We did experience yesterday kind of an ass kicking, which is part of what I want to talk about today. Actually, we're going to kind of review some of that. So today is your day. Think about what you saw the last 3 days. Think about your views, your opinions on positive progressions. And again, it's not just the 1, 3, 2, 4 from the past line. A positive progression is anytime you're pressing a bet that's winning, right? Guys that say, I just, bet on what's winning and I press them when they come. That's a positive progression. No matter how you phrase it, it's what it is, right? So let's talk about it today. Let's give me your opinions on, is it the only way to win big? Is it the best way to play? Is it a way that you'd want to play? And we can talk point counterpoint too. So in your chat over here on the live show, put in a letter Q in front of your comment, and I'll add it to the show as we go along. As I see comments come in, I'll add them in. We'll talk through it. And of course, if you're here watching afterwards, just drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll get back to you kind of as we go. So here we go. Reminder: your daily dose of John here, right? Is this? We know that the casinos live to take all your money, right? That's the business model is to suck you dry, right? Take every dime you got without impunity. They don't care. They don't care if you've got 15 cents or $15 million. The games exist to bleed that out no matter what. They may have signs that say get help if you need it. They don't really care if you get help. They just want your money. And we have to know that. And I say this just in full disclosure, right? Even though I'm writing an app that helps gamblers practice gambling, right? I'm writing a series of games that help you practice getting better at the games. I have friends that work at casinos. Matter of fact, some of the casinos may drop some in-game advertising for us, right? I get that we're all here, right? What I want you to know is that the business model of the casino is to take your money, and the only tool that you've got is your own brain. That's it. You may have some good bankroll. Happy for you if you do, right? That you can survive some of these downturns, right? But beyond that, everything that you can do to win in the game, I'll carve out the exception for guys that practice dice influence, right? Everything else you do in the casino that is positive for you is here. It's all in your brain. It's all in your emotions, right? Controlling your emotions, setting goals, having discipline, and executing your plans, right? Having a goal and discipline to execute the plan, right? Identifying when a number is hot and leaning into it. Identifying when it's too choppy for you to play this way. Identifying when it's time to get out with a good level of profit or with an acceptable level of loss. If you don't have control over yourself, you're going to absolutely succumb to the casino's plan to take every dime you have. That's just the way that it is. And it's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. And I want to help you always, every day, get over the hump a little bit. All right. So this week we've been talking about these positive progressions, right? Ways to kind of lean into a good run. Okay. Monday, we talked about what they are. What is a positive progression bet? What does it even mean? We did a little bit of fact or fiction on Tuesday. We talked about the pros and cons of positive progressions. And yesterday in the pressure cooker, I rolled out a bunch. And we got hammered yesterday. And we got hammered for good reason, actually. We got hammered because I played dark side. And not because I don't like dark side play. But I don't think, and somebody brought this up in the comment section brilliantly yesterday, dark side play does not lend itself to positive progressions. It's kind of funny when you play the dark side in craps, especially. It's not the kind of play that responds well to heavy pressing. Dark side play leans more into what you would call grinder play, or Ken might say bump on a pickle play, right? ladder plays. Dark side and those kind of plays are a perfect marriage. Dark side and trying to get out of the gate and have this sort of magical 8 in a row run is very, very difficult. We'll talk about rhythm here in a minute. But yeah, today our show is going to be called Dig It or Dog It. And what I want to do today is really let you guys kind of have at it. Again, use cues in the comments to get to me. And let me hear what your opinions are on playing with a pressing strategy versus a regressive strategy, or versus a negative progression strategy. So today's Dig It or Dog It. Give me all y'all's thoughts on what it has. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump into the next screen. Then I'll start working some of the questions in, if that's okay with y'all. So let's have some fun with the graphic, the Dig It or Dog It. And the question of the day is, do you like positive progressions? Do you like to press your bets when they win? Do you like to start low and go high versus starting low and going high when you lose? I'm talking about starting low and going high when you win, catching that streak. Do you dig that style of play? Or are we dogging it today? That's what I want to know from y'all here. So let's hop on in. I'm going to look at some of the questions that I see out here in the chat, and we'll get through it. Let's see. The first question looks like it's coming from Ken. And he says this, and it's more of a comment than a question. If you're a home run player, then you love it. If you're a conservative, you hate it. And here's, again, some of the bullet points that I brought up from my thoughts from the week, right? Do you live in a choppy world, right? Talking to James Newberry, who's one of our subscribers, I think he's a member too, in the comments yesterday. He said, in my experience, this is James talking, in my experience, the world is chop. Most of the time at the craps table or other games, it's win, lose, win, lose. You can't catch rhythm. You can't catch a run. You're chopping all the time. And then something happens. Either it's great or it's shit. One of the two, right? It's either good for you or bad for you. Do we live in a world of chop? And should everything we do be optimized for chop, right? I don't think that's a bad idea. I guess what I would lean into is say, when the chop ends and it goes really south, you have to walk. If you're playing a chop like a ladder type system and it goes good, I think you need to lean in. And I think that if you're going to lean in, to Ken's point, if you want that home run, lean in with something positive. Find a way to bet for two or three in a row that locks up early and hammers late, and then you can bug out. There's a pattern to this, I think, that can probably work if we figure it out. All right. Victor says that the best bet on a negative expectation game is no bet, right? And it kind of dovetails with what Ken from Ken Knows Gambling says quite a bit, right? Don't bet. Otherwise, the rank order is regress, same bet, press on wins, right? I gave you that example yesterday, the regression up and pull, right? The regress down to lock profit and then go. And he brings up a different pattern than I showed you yesterday, but I will show it to you back here on the table when we get a chance. And I think, what we saw yesterday, when I say, when does the W come? When does the win come? We had a situation yesterday, if you remember the show, and I'll recap it for you, where I had 3 players playing at the same time. I had a same bet guy. I had a guy doing a 1-3-2-4, which is a power press, and a guy doing a straight, just 3-leg parlay. So one guy, same bet. One guy has to power press and get 2 in a row to get anything out of it, or he loses double fast. The third guy just does a parlay. The parlay guy did win. He did catch a parlay. He caught a 3-leg he caught a 3-leg parlay at one point. The problem was he caught the parlay after the 7th shooter, after the 7th round. Now, the 3-leg parlay only wins 7 units. So he burned more than 7 units getting there. So when he won the 7 units and caught the perfect run, he was still negative in his bankroll. When the win comes matter. If you're playing a positive progression and you crack it right away, that's a sign for you. If you catch it on your first or second series and you're up 5, 6, 7 units early, that's a sign. Get out. We learned that, and again, you can't learn everything from 10 outcomes of yesterday's show. But in general, when we watch me do these kinds of things, if you don't win early, or if you do win early, rather, in a positive type progression, you got to be done almost immediately. Otherwise, you're going to have a world of hurt as you saw yesterday. We fought, had the big win, and that big win didn't gobble up the losses because we played too long. So just interesting a note from yesterday's shows. All right. Jeff says you should have discipline listed at the top. We've all seen players who claim they had discipline and don't. Question is, how do you learn discipline? The answer, you don't. You practice it. Dude, perfect point. You can't learn discipline. I can teach you what it is. I can show you all day long what is discipline, right? But the way that you learn discipline is by practicing it. And I have given many, many challenges out there, and nobody will take them up. Well, somebody, actually, Chris from Dice DJ is the only guy that ever took me up on the challenge. I see a mistake here on my thing. Is kind of driving me crazy. Chris is the only one who ever gave me or gave it a shot, which is this: go to the casino, and I say this with a small number, with $100, win $10, and go home. Now, most people say, and I guarantee you somebody in chat will say it's not worth it, and I would say I'm in that spot. I'm 2.5 hours from my casino. I am not driving 2.5 hours with $100 to win $10 and then drive 2.5 hours home. I'm going to burn more money in gas on the trip, right? I will say this to you. If I could, carve the time out of my busy schedule, I would totally do it. It's not about the money, right? Learning discipline through executing, as Jeff is suggesting, only happens if you're willing to take something ridiculous like that and make it actually happen. You got to train your brain to be like, it's okay. It's okay to win 10% or maybe 15%, whatever your number is, and stop and go. You have to do it. If you're in Vegas, go to Vegas sometime. If you don't want to take the trip to your local casino, go to Vegas, go to Atlantic City, get in a hotel room, and I dare you, go downstairs, buy into a game, whatever the game is, craps, blackjack, bubble, whatever you like, for $100. Either lose the 100 or win 10. Cash out, go to the cage, go back to your room, and do something. Watch a sitcom, whatever. Take a shower, get some room service, whatever it is you want to do with your time. Go back and do it again. Do that 20 or 30 times during a visit to Vegas. I dare you to try it with $100. You build discipline by doing something disciplined, which means saying to yourself, 10% win is good enough for me, and I'm out of here. You can simulate the drive when you're there. I dare you to do it. Nobody will do it. Nobody will take 10 units, for example, try to win 3 and leave. Take $100, 10 $10 units, and win 30 and leave. Take $1,000 and win 300 and leave. Stop playing. That's how you build discipline. You cannot do it by saying to yourself, I've got discipline. You can't just say you have it. You can't sit here and practice at your house and say you got it. You got to go to the casino, actually cash out, color me up, go to the cage, take green paper money out of the floor. You got to build that muscle up. You have to do it. Only way. All right. What else do we have here? More. Thanks for the comment there, Jeff. I love getting a reason to talk about something. Yes, Dr. S. And we will talk about this in 2 weeks. The ladder loves the chop. When we get to laddering week. So next week, we're going to talk about straight negative progressions, martingales and everything else. The week after that, I'm going to focus specifically on ladders because I think of all the negative progressions, aside from the 31, the ladder has the most juice to it. I want to spend a whole week on laddering. And we'll talk specifically about how the ladder works in the chop and specifically about how players misplay it because they don't really watch their chips. So good call out. Skill, does that include betting with the regression first and then up and pull? So there's 2 ways to rock that, okay? Let me actually go to the table and show you because I think I'm going to get my keyboard out of the way here. There's a different skill between those, and it really comes down to your risk, right? When I talk about your risk profile, this is what I mean. Let me come down here and show you a really quick idea. We'll use the red little chips here. So Victor said regression up and pull. And if you don't know, a regression up and pull means starting with some level of bet, whatever it is. We can start with I'll start with 3. I like to do it with a 3-unit starting point, although it's massively risky. Again, your bankroll says, is this too much money out of my bank to play? Is 3 units too much risk? Number one. Your risk profile says, I'm scared of that. If that's the case, you don't do this. But here's how this works, right? The regression up and pull from a 3 looks like this. You win 3, right? And then you regress to 2 units. Now you've got your 3 back. You've already locked up a profit unit. And now you've got a 2-unit bet. From this point forward, you can win, go up, and pull. Again, win, go up, and pull every single time. The 3 is the perfect sauce because you can get right into a regression with profit and then every bet up and pull, up and pull, up and pull. That's the way that I like to do a regression up and pull, right? Now, Victor put this out there, right? If you start with 2, right, and you win, you same bet, get your money back. The next win is up and pull. So your first one's a tie. Your second one is the lockup. In the way that starting with 3, your first one is the lockup. Depends on how bad you want to delay that. Okay. If you want to just regress from 2, it looks like this. Start with 2, win 2, right? You can pull back your initial 2. You can regress and lock a profit unit up, and now you have a 1-unit bet. So there's no more regressing here. Your next one has to either be a pull or a press. And if you don't press, you can't get into the up and pull. So you're going to take the first hit, again, starting with 2, winning 2, locking the 2 back up, and coming down to 1. Your next one becomes the press. Then you're into up and pull town, right? You can work a regression up and pull in a number of ways, from 2 or from 3, and depends on how you want to work your bets to get that going. And again, this works everywhere, okay? As an example, if I'm got $25 on the 9, take one bet as an example, okay? And the 9 gets the $35 win. You can regress it to $15 or to $10, right? Take your initial bet back, lock up some profit, and now you're in up and pull town. As the 9 keeps coming, it'll pay 15 for 1. You can go up and pull, or you can go up 2 and pull 1. When that wins $28, I'll do it like this, $28 on the $20 9. Again, you can go up 2, pull 3. However you want to patternize it, whatever you're doing here, up a unit, pull a unit. Once you start winning quarters again, now your presses are quarter sized, right? Up and pull from a regression, great way to play. And it works everywhere. You can do it in the field, you can do it in the you can do it on whatever you want to do it on, whatever game you want to play. That pattern of betting is great. But to regress, you have to start higher than you probably want to. Your base bet might be $10. You got to start at a quarter to get to the $10 bet. So regressions make a lot of sense. However, they can be costly because you have to go up a little higher than maybe you're comfortable with. All right, let me go back over here again. Back to the screen. All right, let's take a look at what else is in the chats here. So Dr. S says, yeah, start a few steps up on a ladder. We'll talk about that for sure. When we get to ladder play in a couple of weeks, I'm going to show ladders starting at 1 unit, 2, 3, and 4. There's lots of ways to start a ladder. And if you start in the middle, right, you start in the middle, when you get down to the 1, you're out. Like starting the ladder in the middle, if you can afford it with your bankroll, is the easy way out. You know exactly when it's time to bug out. So there it is. All right, Dr. Don't Pass 1 loves a positive progression, right? Ignore the rollouts affecting opinions. It's a good point there. Because I had a bad rollout does not mean that you shouldn't play that way. One little tiny sample doesn't matter. However, I do think this is interesting. The last point I have up here, does rhythm matter in craps? And I think, yes, it does. Discipline matters big time. And people have asked me hundreds of times, probably everybody else here who has a channel has had the same question asked of them. Do you work the come out or not? If you're, let's say you're a craps player and you have place bets up there, do you work the come out? And my answer to that question is it depends. You work the come out if you're looking for a one-hit strategy. If you're going to do like a 160 across, take a hit, go to 22 inside or something like that, right? You can work the come out. That's fine. If your play is to work the come out, and if you lose on a 7, put it right back out again and try it again. Lose on a 7, put it right back out. The craps come out sequence, this little son of a gun, the on and the off, this thing here will drive you nuts. And we saw it yesterday. The don't pass is very susceptible to the come out sequence. We lost yesterday, not because numbers got hit. We lost on the come outs. We had a million come out 7s and 11s that torched. Every time we parlayed, the come out would get us, right? The rhythm, I think, matters in craps. I think playing a positive progression from the don't, specifically the don't pass. The don't comes a different animal. The don't pass, where you can get whacked 3-4 times in a row, is harmful, right? Getting through that's tough. On the pass line, because of the rhythm, you can attack the pass line with some kind of a positive progression as an independent play, right? That's why I had a strategy a while back called the odds maker, which was the pass line and the don't come in opposition of each other. But I played a 1-3-2-4 on both of them differently because the come out sequences work differently on those two bets. So just an interesting point that came out yesterday. I want to make sure that we addressed it today because it does matter. The don't is not the greatest for, especially the don't pass, not the greatest for a positive prog because the multiple 7s and 11s on the come out, that rhythm of the game hurts the don't pass more than any other bet. It really does. Now, once you're through, we know it's a great way to play. And maybe once you're in a positive progression and you get burned a couple of times and you get a number through, maybe that's when you use odds to mitigate some of those earlier loss, right? There's a nuance in there that you guys can kind of run through it. So, all right, Dr. S says, my thoughts, if playing a positive progression, you need to bring your rear view mirror and tell me where to buy one, right? You just don't know, right? And I think the point you're trying to make is a good one, which is this. You can't know that a streak is happening, right? You can't know that. I think a lot of people make this assumption. When I say streak betting, you don't know when it's there. What I say all the time is, that's why I say bet low. Bet low into a streak. Bet 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. If you win, jump into it. It's like surfing, right? You're like finding a wave, and you see a wave forming, and you start paddling towards it. And if you lose, oh well, you lost, right? If you don't catch the wave. If you catch the wave and you win that second bet, now you can kind of keep trying to go there, right? And if the streak forms while you're in it, you're in a good spot. And the example that I give a lot, and I think this is a good one, and I will challenge everybody. And this includes, there's a guy that watches us sometimes, 40 Craps. I think he plays this way. I don't want to speak for him, but I know we had a couple of guys before that. Blacklight was one of them that used to write everything down in a notebook and say, well, blah, 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 the 9's coming. And the next 3 rolls, the 9's coming. They would try to predict the future based on what they saw coming. And I think there are very few people that could ever pull that off. And I ask you this question. If you're betting on the 9, $10, and it wins, and you go to 20, and that wins, and you go to 35, and that wins, and you go to 50, right? Let's just say that's your progression, right? Some simple little pressing move. Cool. Your first hit, you got some money back in the rack. Your second hit, you're bringing some back. You're pressing it up, right? You're working into the rhythm of the 9. That's fantastic. You're catching a streak, starting at the smallest possible bet. Fantastic. If it keeps coming, you keep winning. Would you do that? Bet $5 on a 9 and let it kind of build as it goes? Most people would say yes. Would you watch the table? Watch the table. Learn what's going on. Feel the rhythm. Track the results. And after the 5th 9, go, holy shit, the 9 is coming. Here's a purple for the 9. Are you dropping a purple chip out there or a black chip after the 5th 9 because the 9 is hot and right out of your pocket? The answer to most people should be no. Matter of fact, NFW. There's no way I'm dropping a purple or a black out of my pocket on a number that seems hot, or that the red is rolled 5 times. I'm putting everything on red now. You'd never do that, right? The people who claim to take notes and predict what's coming would never bet that way, although they tell you they can. That's a bullshit claim, right? If you're in it low and the streak forms and you get to a black chip through up and pull, up and pull, up and pull, and you end up at a black chip, or your betting progression gets you there using your wins as leverage, cool. That black chip bet on the 9 is fantastic. If you've already pulled a black chip off the table, that's fantastic, right? You're not going to yank it out of your pocket. I think most people, and I think Dr. S's point is exactly that. The rear view mirror doesn't help you. You can't look at that 9 getting hit 4 or 5 times and go, oh, well, we're in a 9 run. Let's go put money on the 9. Nobody does that. And you'd be a fool if you did. So make sure that you, again, eyes wide open on how this stuff really works, and make sure you're saying the right things as you say them. All right. So that's an important thing. All right. Last night took 200, came back with 231, won your money back, and went home with 15%. Bravo. Right. I'll tell you what happens sometimes is you go in with $500 and you lose $300 out of the gate. How many times have you been there? Raise your hand if you've been there. You walk in, get your ass handed to you in 3 seconds, right? You're like, frick, if you take the negative $300 and you fight all the way back and you win $15, guess what? Tap out, baby. That's a cup of coffee that you just bought. Well earned. You won $315 to get to that $15. That's a celebration. Get out of there, right? Yeah, good habit. Go to the cave with chips, and yes, sir, as David would say, go Cougs. My daughter actually is going to be a senior next year. She graduates Wazoo next year, and then goes on to get her master's degree. So I cannot wait. Cannot wait to see what she's going to do with her life. But yeah, my wife's a Coug. My daughter's a Coug. I'm a Spartan. I went to Michigan State. All right. Let's see here. What is a chop? Chop is win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. So it's just one of these where you can't catch a break. So many players feel like that, right? 110 inside, PSO. 110 inside, win $85. 110 inside, PSO. You're kind of like, you're like in fits and starts. That's the chop. And I think that in the chop, there are ways to play that you can get it. So you can take advantage of that when it's occurring. But again, rear view mirror, you have been in a chop. You are not forwardly thinking into a chop. But if you're betting a way that wins in the chop or ties in the chop, when the chop turns into something positive, you have a way to lean into it. And that's what we're going to talk about in a couple of weeks. We really want to talk about that in a couple of weeks. So yeah, what does Ken say? You can't have something that you do not want. Oh my God, that's such a great statement. That's fantastic. All right. Victor says there is more than one way to get out of a hand. Some are fast, some are slow. Truth. Very true. Advice for bubble craps. I don't know if I have advice for bubble craps. I'm not a big bubble craps player, although I like to practice with it. Like, to me, bubble craps is a good way to, what I use bubble craps for, I'm such a weirdo. I practice things on it. Like, if I want to try something that seems like a cool strategy or I have a thought on a way to play, I'll use a $1 bubble craps machine to kind of vet the system and see how it feels with real dice and win-loss rates, that kind of thing. But I use bubble craps to burn money or win. Like, I'm such a nerd. If I go to the casino, let's say I bought in for like $750, right? And let's say I cashed out, pick a number, 1,073 or something. Let's write some random ass number. I will go to the cage. I'll take my money, and I'll cash out, and I'll have $1,073. Guess what? Either 23 or 73 is going into the bubble craps machine. I will not. Maybe I shouldn't be saying this publicly, but I will never have less than $100 bill in my gaming wallet. When I play, I've got my gaming money. There's never nothing but hundreds in there. I don't keep little bills. If I have $73 or $50, it's going in the bubble machine. And that's my practice time. Literally sit there, get a whiskey, because I don't care. I practice, try shit out. That's bubble to me. But if you're going to be on the bubble, right, what you work on with bubble craps is the long runs. You do super low betting. You do something like to win $5 or $6 and go $1 across and just work a system. When I'm on bubble craps, if I'm trying anything at all, I'm looking for a repeater. I'll win $5. I'll go $5 or $4 inside with it, maybe, or $4 outside, and I'll just hit 4s and 10s or 5s and 9s and press them until repeater level and stop that. Just looking for a magical run on a bubble craps, because that's all that it's good for at the dollar level. That's the way that I do it. Again, to me, it's practice town. It's not actually my life goal there. So, all right. Question: if I could play one way, power press, ladder, or RUP, I would pick the RUP, frankly. Especially, and I don't do a lot of laddering because I don't normally have a lot of money. I'm not a $10,000 buy-in guy or a $5,000 buy-in guy, so I can't really feel like I can play a ladder comfortably. To me, the best way to play is a regression up and pull. I also don't love going in high, so what I'll often do is take the first win, right? I'll do a little bit of a progression to build up a little bit, and then I can do a true 3-unit RUP. The RUP to me is the greatest way to play. If you're going to look for a win, right? Regression up and pull is the best way to lock up money and be into a super long run without feeling guilty about it, right? If you're looking for the ways that Ken Whalen and I typically like to play, which is grinder. The Headless Horseman is my grinder. You know me, I grind the Horseman all day long. I'll win 1 unit, 2 units all day, every day, and be super happy about it. If you're grinding, you feel guilty about staying too long because you work so hard to get that 1 or 2 unit win. An RUP, regression up and pull, there's no guilt because you've locked up profit and you're locking up profit on every single win after that. Play it until the streak ends and then you're done. The RUP to me has an exit clause. As soon as it's over, it's over. And again, look at the table. If I'm in a regression up and pull, if I'm in a 2-unit, $10 at my $5 blackjack table here in town, right? And I win, right? And I pull it back. Same bet the first one, right? Now I'm up and pull, right? As soon as this number, my non-starting number gets to 25, 30, if I buy in for $100, let's say, and this is at $50, I'm done. The minute this streak stops happening, right? There's 5 in a row, and look at that. I'm out. This is my lockup. Done. Money back, locked up. I'll play this forever. I have no guilt. I won't do a double regression. I have no guilt about playing this thing out until I stop winning because I've already locked up more than I wanted. As soon as I'm satisfied with that profit pile, this here is just in it for the win it, man. Just play it till it runs out. I have no regrets when I'm playing up and pull, right? If I was parlaying 4 wins, now I'm crapping myself on the 4th one. When the 4th one is all those units up on one giant stack and I don't get the win, I got to start all over again. I got no profit. I love having those enormous wins when they happen. They're fun, right? I do a lot of 1, 3, 2, 4 when I'm ahead. When I'm ahead, I jump to a 1, 3, 2, 4 because I can afford it. I have my money back. I've got my lock. I've got excess. The excess is the 1, 3, 2, 4 money. And again, money management. We talked about it last week. Money management, money management, money management. It's the secret to life. It's the secret to life at a casino, right? If I do a little RUP or a little same bet and I build up my I'm satisfied stack and I've got extra money, the extra money is where I go for the parlays and the 1, 3, 2, 4s. I typically don't do that out of my pocket. And I think that's the thing that people don't realize. I talk about these things on my show, but the real rhythm of play is get to a point where you can do the thing that makes you the home run. Swinging for the fences right out of your pocket is really tough sledding for most people. So there we go. Let's see. Anything else in here? Softball question from Skill. I haven't even read it yet. What is the best progression for each table type? Oh God. So if you're on a cold or a choppy table, right? You got to, if you have the money, you go negative, right? A choppy table, for sure, a ladder is the way to play. But again, you don't know the table's choppy. Remember to speak in the past tense. The table has been choppy. The table is not choppy. And I want to repeat, I should put that on the billboard. The table was hot. The table is not hot. The table was cold. The table is not cold. Okay? When you're playing, you got to predetermine how you're going to approach the table. I'm going to approach the table assuming a chop. I'm going to play a little bit of a ladder. If it is choppy, if it becomes choppy, I'll be okay. If it becomes super negative variant, the ladder is going to cost me a bunch of money. If, however, we win 3 or 4 in a row and I'm playing the ladder at the right level, I'm going to profit from that and I can leave, right? Approach the table with an assumption of one of those ways of playing or another. Torpedo table, you walk away. But again, Speak in the past tense. The table is not choppy. It is not hot. It is not cold. It was choppy, cold, or hot. You got to play in a way that can work in any situation. And as it turns and you're in the middle of a turn, your betting style matches the turn, doesn't go against the grain. That's the thing. It's very hard to do. It takes discipline to do that because you want to chase the loss or you want to hammer that win when you get it. You've got to play in a way that consistently survives when it's not great, when it's choppy, and when it turns in whatever direction you want it to turn into, you're already betting in that direction and lean into it until your rack says it's time to go. Super important. Great question, Skill. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I didn't know if it was you or not. I knew there was another guy who did this. I forget his name now. He used to come in here and say he would write it all down and predict the rolls. For some reason, I had you on my mind, but I don't know why. So if I misspoke on that, I'm awful sorry about that. All right. Counters 20074. Would you modify something like the ultimate squeeze play where you're getting out, but you tend to never get profits from house money? Okay, how would I modify the ultimate squeeze play? I'm not a big fan of ultimate squeeze play, frankly. I think it's a little too much investment at the outset. You're staying high too long in the squeeze play. To me, you're staying high too long. I would rather come down on that. So if you're going to go 220 in, the first hit you get, come down to 110 in. Like come right in half, because what happens is you're, I think 70 or 80% out of the hand at that point, and you're okay at that point to do a little bit of an RUP on the numbers and be okay. It's and then let me show you what I mean by that, because actually it's a great question. I've talked with David about this too, and I think it's an important little. We're gonna go 270 or 220 inside, right? We'll just start with the inside. I'll leave the 4 and 10 alone. When I do inside plays like this, if I get FOMO in the 4 and 10, I'll give them a $10 bet or a table minimum bet and just count them as a separate play. This is like my wife playing or partner play, right? Leave them out of it for right now. But in here, 220 at risk. If we win our $70 and I come down to 110 inside, right? Again, we're in for 220. We're out for 100, 75, $205 on one hit. Okay. You're at 100, 75, $205, what you brought off the table in the first hit. You've regressed down to 110. Now I'm not out of the hand. I'm in for 220. I'm out for 205. I'm still invested in this hand by some percentage, right? But the very next hit that we get, that $35 win, I can now go up and pull. And when I pull that quarter, I'm ahead, right? Remember, I was out for 215 or 205, in for 220. When I pull this quarter, I'm up $10 now, right? I can go 100, 75. I lost my my quarter there, but now I'm out, right? There's my $220. Yeah, there's the 220, and I'm up $10. That's the move. Regress out of the 220 right away. The next hit is a up and pull at the right level, and I'm out with profit. I would rather do that. It's not a squeeze play, but it's a big regression to get you. If you can afford 220, I'd rather be out in one hit or mostly out in one hit, and then I'm on up and pull with every number. Every number goes up by 10, up by 10, up by 10, up by 10. Pull the quarter back, and then you can press collect, press collect. You can run your rhythm from that point forward. But get out first. That's the key to it, is get out on one roll. If I can do it in one roll, I'd rather do it in one roll. I would rather not sit there on the squeeze play, have an inside number, go to the outside, wait for something to hit, and bring it all. It's a pain in the ass for the dealers, number one, and you're at full risk at least for 2 rolls, maybe 3, which makes it difficult to play this. Get out, get down and get out versus stay up and get out. That's just my advice to that one. And again, to each his own, right? We talk about your risk profile. And again, to me, my level of risk, I'm going to get to this screen here. My level of risk says get out as in as little number of rolls as possible. And I'll take that little bit of risk that's left over. If I'm going to play right side, that's the way I would recommend you do it. Something simple, little regression, and then get on the up and pull train. So that's what I think there. Okay. Let's see. I told you we should get you on here at some point. Let's have you on, dude. I have watched your videos, but let's get you on here at some point and really talk through it, because again, just because I don't play the way you play doesn't mean that it's going to be oppositional. I just want to, give me some different ways of looking at things. This channel's always been about different ways of looking at things. That's really what it's all about. So, all right. Yeah, you're not the crazy one for sure. Just go for it, man. Just take 4 hits on a 4 or 10 and win $80, right? All right, there we go. There you go. I don't believe in hot tables. Do numbers, right? Good. I'm so glad about that. I'm not a double regression guy, Ken. I just not. I get it. Now, let me walk that back. I got to get out of here too. I'm going to walk that back. I am a double regression guy at a point. Okay. Here's where I do it. Let's say that I bought in for $1,000. There's my $1,000, right? And let's say that I have lost $500. We'll put the $500 off to the side over here. I lost it. Okay. So I'm down 500. And let's say that through the course of play, whatever I did, let's say I did a 2 unit and I won 2, right? And I regressed down to 1 and now I have 3 back, right? And then I hit the 1 and I push it up, and then I hit 2, and then I up and pull, and I hit the 3, right? We're going to play it out here. I hit the 3, and I up and I pull. And now what I've got is my money back that I had lost earlier, plus $100 in profit, plus 400 out here. If my goal was 250, I'll pull that off and I'll regress to that and lock up my loss, lock up my win, and play with the excess. That would be a double regression for me. That's the time to do it if I have to. Now, if I had never lost that first money, right, and I was out here at 4 and I had brought back $500-600, there's no way I'm double regressing this. If I already had my money back and this little run brought me past my goal, an extra goal, that's never coming down. I'll RUP that into the sunset. No need to double regress this one. I'll double regress to get to a goal, to lock things up, to make sure that I'm in good shape. But once I've got it, and again, there's my win goal, there's my excess, and here's actual excess, we'll take that to the house and see what happens. That's where you and I probably differ, Ken. I will take this all the way because I'm satisfied with those two. I'm satisfied with my win goal and some excess. This is going to be the shoot the moon. And that, again, there's time and place to me to double regress, time and place to me to stay in forever. And it all depends on where you are up in here and how you got there. Again, if you lost ahead of time and you barely got your money back plus a unit, that's a double regress and start the process over again to make sure you're locked. That's an important bit. And again, it goes along with knowing where you are. If you're on blackjack, it's stacks, right? If you're on a craps table, it's your rack. Knowing where you are with all the bets that are out there, what you've won, lost, and where you currently stand, have to be. That's money management. If you don't have that skill, discipline won't help you. You won't know when to walk. You might have the ability to walk when you're up or down, but you better damn well know when you're up or down. And that's the point that I want to make there. So the skill 66 I classify as a fun play, Mike. I have a love-hate with it because I lose with it so often. It does require full risk for 2 inside hits, which is pretty hard to get, right? I've lost more with that thing than I've won with it. I have won a couple of times, right? Where I've done well with the skill 66 is not playing like this. And again, the skill 66, for those of you who don't know, it's 66 inside. And again, this works at almost any level, right? We'll just do it this way though. 66 inside. Okay. A win is $21, right? You drop $1 out of your rack to make that look like 22. You press them all up, right? So you have 20, you have 24. I don't know why I did it that way. 24 and 20, right? These all win $28. So one inside hit, everything gets pressed. You're still at full risk. The second inside hit, you win $28. If you bring it all down and left your $66 out there, okay, up and off, your net profit for this, there's your 66 you started with. There's 25, 30, 45. There's $49 in profit, plus the $1 that you had to add. Effectively, it wins $50. If you did that move, kept the $50 and went home, If that happens on shooter 1 and you go home, it's almost 100% profit. It's like 80% profit off of your initial spread. 50 out of 60 great. It's a great profit. 50 out of 67 is a great profit, right? If you did this at 660 inside, that's $500 in profit. Think of it that way. Is it enough to leave? Yeah. The problem with the skill 66 is that what most people do with it is they don't stop playing. They come down to 44 inside. And what you've got in that case is this. Let me get these whites looking like reds over here. What you've now got is 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, $66 plus the dollar that you started, you had to add in there. There's your money back. You have $5 in profit and you're playing for the home run. Even if you're doing a smart up and pull here, you're playing for a home run, $5 in profit. And when the 7 comes, and it always does, your profit is 5 instead of 50. That's the problem with the skill 66. It's not the move. It's what you do with the move. Take the 50, stop playing. Take the 50, stop playing. Take the 50, stop playing. That's smart play. Leave it at 44 and pray for a miracle. Sure, you'll get a miracle once every few times you go, but most of the time, you're leaving that session with a $5 profit, which, again, I wouldn't throw it in the garbage can, but it's $5. It ain't $50. I'd rather have the $50 than the 5. And again, does your discipline muscle allow you to do that? Play without the fear of missing out. Let the good run go by you. And love that $50 like it was your wife. That's the thing. That's very hard to do. Very, very hard to do. All right. Here we go. Yeah, you can go from 220 to 88. I hate 88 inside. Right? I hate that. And only because I deal. Right? Going from 220 inside to 88 inside is a pain in the ass. There's what you're going from greens and reds to reds and whites. And you got chips everywhere. It just takes forever to deal it out. For what? It's a $22 difference. For $22, leave it at greens. That's what, and I get it. You're a math guy. You want to make everything perfect. But to me, keep it simple, stupid. Don't go crazy with the whites and the reds. And now you're going to go from $20 bets, reds and whites, to green and reds. You're going to change colors all the time. It's a freaking nightmare. As a dealer, as a player, I think that's hard to do. So, my personal opinion. All right, I got to go. We're over time. It's 8:19. So I'll leave you with the with this note from our good friend Lou over at the AC group, and he says, "Stay in focus." Right? It all works together. Follow your plan. Observe the conditions. Control your emotions. Understand the game and the odds, and stay disciplined. Those 5 keys. Right? We start with the bridge. We end with focus, and that's it. Be a smart player. Protect yourself. Eyes wide open all the time. Enjoy the game. Even though you know you're up against it, enjoy the game, all right? And the last thing, of course, will be to keep it simple, stupid, right? An idiot admires complexity. A genius admires simplicity. Keep it simple. Progression betting is easy. Very easy to remember where you are. You can look down and know your levels. You know what your next move is. Keep it simple. Keep it right here, right? Love y'all. Have a great day. And we'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.